And we're off. We're going to learn some new tags now. I happen to be working on my Windows PC, but the instructions here will be the same whether you're on a Windows PC or on a MacBook. I want to cover these 4 tags. The 4 tags are the EM tag, the I tag, the strong tag, and the bold tag. So EM is for emphasis, I is for italics, strong is for strong, strongly worded text or content, and B is for bold. So in just a second, I'm going to pause the recording and I'm going to go over to my desktop and I am going to show you these 4 tags in action. And what you're going to notice is that they appear to do similar things. Some of the tags appear to be redundant. That is, I have 2 tags that seem to do the same thing. So I'm going to come back to this slide after I've shown you these tags in action, and I'm going to explain why this apparent supposed redundancy exists. Okay, and if you listen carefully, I'll probably explain it in the follow along part. So right now I'm going to pause the recording and jump over to my desktop. Here we are back at desktop. I'm going to double click on Visual Studio Code. That icon is conveniently located on my desktop. Visual Studio Code remembers the last place we were working, so it will automatically open up the MIS 2402 workspace. If for some reason that didn't happen, you could go to the menu in the upper left-hand corner, choose File, Open Folder, and locate the MIS 2402 workspace folder on your desktop. And in the workspace, we have hello.html, hello.txt, and work.html because you've been following along. And I have my, your font will probably be smaller, more like this, but I have my font zoomed in quite large so you can see what I'm typing. All right, inside of work.html, I'm going to delete the content of my first paragraph, and I'm going to type a new paragraph. Here we go. The film Napoleon Dynamite is very odd. Okay, if you've never seen the movie Napoleon Dynamite, it's a weird little movie, kind of funny in its own weird sort of way. Now, if I were to preview that in my default browser, you can see the film Napoleon Dynamite is very odd. And if you are savvy with conventions of the English language, you know that movie titles should be italicized, right? So HTML gives us a way of indicating italicized text. So just like I have the body tag and the H1 tag and the paragraph tag, I can put a I tag around the text Napoleon Dynamite. There we go. So let me just zoom in to an obnoxiously large screen here. So you can see that for that text, I have the open tag, the content, and then the close tag. Notice the slash in the close tag, right? And the dot up here indicates that I have not yet saved this file. So I can click on the 3-bar menu and choose File and Save, or I could type Control S if I wanted to. All right, this is crazy big. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. There we go. And I want to preview this now. And you can see that Napoleon Dynamite, the film title, has been italicized. Now, as English speakers, we sometimes use italics to indicate not a book title or a movie title, but sometimes we use italics in print to emphasize what it is we're saying. We're not really saying that it's proper, it's required that we italicize this, but we want to emphasize the text in some way. So when I say very odd, I'm going to use a different tag. I'm going to say EM, and EM is for emphasis, and /EM at the end. There we go. And I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to view this in the default browser. And look at that. It looks like the I tag and the EM tag, it looks like they did the same things. In fact, if I had messed up and used just nothing but the I tag or nothing but the EM tag, I would have had the same visual result, but the meaning would have been different. And that's the point I want to make here, is that these tags, while they appear to be the same to a person looking at them, their meaning is different, and their meaning would be different for a screen reader or perhaps for a web crawler or another piece of software that was analyzing this text. Okay, and that's a takeaway that I hope you recall from our earlier chapters, is that while the browser is the piece of software that's most commonly used to interpret HTML, it's not the only software that's used to interpret HTML. There's also web crawlers and there's also screen readers. And so we should use I for italicized text, and we should use EM for emphasis, even though they look the same. All right, so we have I and EM. I'm going to type a new paragraph here, and I'm going to say, I want this text to be easily read in low light. That is, if you've ever been on your smartphone and you're dealing in a situation where you have a lot of glare, and you want the text to be more bold to increase the contrast between the text and the background. Well, that would be using the B tag. B is for bold, and I could put it around one word or one letter or any part of this. I'm going to put this bold tag around all the text in this sentence. So I'll say B, and you can see that Visual Studio Code automatically completed that for me. And that's a little irritating. I'm going to use my backspace key to back over that and go all the way to the end. And then I'm going to type an angle bracket, a /, and VS Code is smart enough to do the rest of the typing for me. I'm going to hit save with a command save or control save, depending on whether you're on a Mac or a PC. And I'm going to view this. So you can see that we've made this text bold. And presumably the reason that I made this text bold is I wanted it to be more easily read in a low light situation. All right, but that's not the only reason I might bold some text. I might also bold some text. I'm going to make a third paragraph here. And I'm going to say, the sign says, the sign should say, and I'll put in a pair of quotes there just for fun, danger, bridge out. And I'll add do not enter, do not enter. Okay, so this would be considered strong language. Now the quotes here aren't really important. They might confuse someone, so I'm going to actually make this. I'm going to take the quotes out just so as to not confuse anybody. They are not part of what I'm trying to emphasize here. What I am trying to emphasize here is that there's a tag called strong, and I will end the text here with a strong closing tag. And if you can see that some of my text is scrolling off the right-hand edge of the page, there's absolutely no reason that you can't just put a line break in there. That won't throw off your presentation at all. Okay, now when I view this, it says, I want this text to be easily read in low light, so I made it bold, consequently. The sign should say, danger, bridge out, do not enter. That's what we call strong text, or strong language. And you can imagine how a screen reader or a web crawler might read these two bits of content differently. This is not meant to be more important than this. It's just meant to be bolded. This, however, we did the bolding for a reason, because the words are strong. So what we are looking at here is what's called the difference between a semantic tag and a non-semantic tag. A semantic tag has meaning. That's what the word semantic means. Semantics are meaning. So EM and strong are semantic tags. They have meaning. I and B are simply cosmetic, for lack of a better word. Make the text look a certain way. Okay, I'm going to recap that, and then we'll move on to some more new tags. So we've added 4 new tags. The emphasis tag, the italics tag, the strong tag, and the bold tag. And what I hope every student would do right now is note the difference between the semantic tags and the non-semantic tags. The semantic tags carry meaning beyond the visual appearance of the text. So emphasis and strong are semantic tags. The non-semantic tags, italics, bold, simply indicate the way the text should look and do not carry any extra weight as far as the meaning is concerned. At least they shouldn't. So the emphasis tag and the strong tags have more semantic meaning than the italic tag and the bold tag. All right, in the next video here, we're going to talk about images, and that's going to allow us to put images into our web pages.